There doesn't seem a better time to bring back the Gab-o-meter, but for International Week, a reminder how this works. We go to Gab, we ask him on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is it that a transfer will happen? 1, no chance. 10, it's pretty much a done deal. Let's start, Gab, with Hazard to Real Madrid this summer.
So I've gone with a 7 on this. There's a lot of things that need to fall into place. Hazard coming out recently and saying that, he hasn't made up his mind. But, the reality is he has a year left on his deal with Chelsea. Real Madrid have him in their sights. They want to add talent. I think there's still a good chance that this can happen.
Sticking with Real Madrid, the front page of Ask Kylian Mbappe. Of course, a player who just said last month, Gab, that he was going to stay at PSG for next season. But what's the chance of Mbappe going to Real Madrid this summer?
I've gone with a 3 here, Dan. Look, I'm sure Mbappe's being honest and truthful when he says he doesn't want to leave, perhaps for another season. But there are economic realities. Paris Saint-Germain still not entirely in the clear over financial fair play. There's other dynamics that could come into play. So I think it's a long shot, but not entirely impossible either.
What about Gareth Bale to leave Real Madrid this summer?
Well, Dan, I'm going to give this one a 4 for the simple reason. It's not that Real Madrid wouldn't necessarily be happy to see the back of him. The problem is he makes an enormous amount of money, and the kind of teams that can afford those wages generally can't also afford a sizable transfer fee that would undoubtedly go with it. I think he's a difficult player to shift. He's turned down opportunities to leave Real Madrid before, and he seems determined to stick it out.
Sticking to the theme of difficult players, Icardi back in training now with Inter, but still very much frozen out. Gab, what is the chance of Icardi to leave Inter this summer?
A lot of people in Italy say it's a done deal that he's gone. I don't. I'm going to give this a 7. I think there's emotional considerations that go into this as well. He really is entirely unpredictable. I think there may come a point where his transfer value diminishes, and it just doesn't make sense for Inter to let him go either. So I still think it's likely, but I'm only going to go as high as 7.
Meanwhile, we talked about Coutinho's future yesterday. The front page of the Catalan newspaper Sport saying Coutinho summit about what's going to happen to him. So, Gab, the chance of Coutinho to leave Barca this summer.
Got this on a knife edge, Dan. I gave it a 5. I think it's pretty much a coin flip. I mean, Barcelona have so many resources tied up into Coutinho. He wants to stay. He wants to prove himself. It's simply not happening with Valverde right now. Ton of different possibilities and reasons why. A lot of them may be having to do with the fact that he and Messi occupy some of the same spaces. Some of them having to do with when Valverde decides to play 4-4-2. Some of them to do with Dembele. Long and short of it is, I think he's only going to go if Barcelona can get a big chunk of their fee back.
Let's stick with La Liga sides. Varane to leave Real Madrid this summer, Gab.
This has gathered a ton of steam recently, but I'm only giving it a 3 for the simple reason that it's a numbers game. Varane is younger. He's not on crazy wages like Sergio Ramos is. If Real Madrid are in a position where they need to raise cash, I think they have other assets that they can sell. It would make very, very little sense to me, especially with Zidane back.
Let's go to Italy, shall we? Gab, a lot of interest in this player, Koulibaly, to leave Napoli this summer.
So I've gone with a 6 here. Look, I think the reality with Napoli is that, everybody really does have their price at that club. And Koulibaly is one of the very few center backs right now that everybody seems to agree on. You can pick your own, everybody's got their own top 5, but Koulibaly really is on everybody's top 5. So there's a huge market for him, and I think it's still just better than 50% that he'll go.
Meanwhile, De Ligt is the front page of Sport in Barcelona. This was before he fell over today, so I don't know if that's made any difference. But De Ligt to go to Barca this summer, Gab.
Gone lower on this. I've given it a 3. The thing here is he's still very, very young. And I think from Ajax's perspective, if they can get a Frenkie de Jong type fee for him, sure, then you consider it. But there's still a lot of question marks, I think, surrounding him. I don't see why he'd necessarily be a real priority for Barcelona either, given that, you still have Piqué, you've got Umtiti to come back, you've got Lenglet. I think there's other areas which maybe ought to be higher priorities for them. And I also think having spent that money on de Jong, they really need to be able to shift Coutinho. Different things would have to fall into place for that to happen.
Thank you very much, Gab. We should have more Gab-o-meter. I missed it. A lot more transfer talk available over on the website. Be sure to check it out.